One Zambia, one nation. Welcome to Zanis News. I'm your presenter, Mwangala Kapandola. Top stories in the news. Poaching, illegal mining in Eastern Province on the decline. 5 million kwacha spent on CDF projects in Lunte. Kenneth Kaunda statue, now a tourist attraction. The news in detail. The Department of National Parks and Wildlife says it has managed to control the rampant poaching and illegal gold mining in Lusukuzi National Park in Eastern Province. The department says the financial and technical support received from the World Bank has capacitated it with transport and housing infrastructure to facilitate effective patrols in the park. Here's a report by Lubasi Mutafela.
Tourism has been recognized by the New Dawn government as key in transforming Zambia's economy. However, the state of some tourism facilities is frustrating efforts to fully exploit the full potential, particularly in some parks that are supposed to attract a considerable inflow of tourists. But the narrative will soon change in Eastern Province, as the Lukusuzi and Luambe National Parks are beneficiaries of a World Bank support on wildlife conservation through the Zambia Integrated Landscape Project, ZIFIL.
Getting support which is focused on improving management of the two national parks, particularly Lukusuzi National Park and the Luambe National Park in the Eastern Province. So the investments that we're receiving through ZIFIL are infrastructure in nature, as well as operations, that is to do with the protection of the two national parks through patrols. This has improved the status of our two national parks. Initially, the parks were prone to a lot of illegal activities as the resources or funding which was available for operations of this park was quite minimal.
The support ZIFIL has given to the Department of National Parks and Wildlife is already benefiting in Lukusuzi National Park, where poaching and other illegal activities are being kept, as the 3 staff houses have been constructed at Kalindi Camp at the entrance of the park.
The challenge before the ZIFIL concerned these houses, that the officers from the Lukusuzi sector to here used to move nearly every month. We have to deploy officers from here. Now that's the change we are facing. Officers, some of the officers were renting in Rumezi. There's Rumezi district. Like was lack of what housing. Now that renting now for officers has been cut off. Even the response to the work is very, very good.
Here, ZIFIL has provided more support.
We've helped the department to put up 4 watering holes. The main aim of putting up those watering holes is to ensure that in the areas where the dry areas of the park, animals, especially in the dry season, will be able to get to those areas and concentrate on one area of the park.
Lubasi Mtafela for Zanis in Lumezi district.
We move to Muchinga Province, where Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Elias Mobanga has implored small-scale entrepreneurs to expand their business ventures through the utilization of empowerment funds such as the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. The minister was speaking in Shiwangandu when he handed over 100 desks to Chilombo, Lukaka, and Kapisha primary schools. Henry Lumpa now reports.
As government continues to actualize components of the free education policy, such as the distribution of desks, many rural schools in Muchinga Province have also continued to receive desks procured through the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Shiwangandu district is the latest district to benefit from this chunk, with Chilombo, Kapisha and Lukaka primary schools receiving a total of 100 desks. Speaking during the distribution, Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Elias Mwanga took time to implore small-scale entrepreneurs to remain proactive towards government programs.
We want to help our citizens in this district of Shiwangandu to be entrepreneurial. This government is promoting entrepreneurship meaning people need to get into business activities. Farming, which is here, is a business.
And Shuangandu District Commissioner Maureen Wembia commended government for considering the district in the desk distribution.
My office wishes to thank you for implementing government efforts through the donation of desks to the 3 primary schools.
Meanwhile, KB Monga, the local contractor engaged to produce the desks, says government is in the right direction of engaging local contractors with such tenders.
This timber is from within, it's hardwood, and the people who made this are local people, not from Lusaka.
The desk distribution through CDF is aimed at ensuring that no learner sits on the floor while accessing free education. Henry Lumpa Jr., Zanis in Shuangandu, Muchinga Province.
Still in education news, Senga Hill Member of Parliament Henry Sikazwe has expressed happiness with the construction of a 1x3 classroom block at Vondoka Primary School in Senga Hill District, Northern Province, built using the 2022 Constituency Development Fund CDF. Mr. Sikazwe, who is also Muchinga Province Minister, inspected the school, which is expected to change the face of the area and motivate learners as they open for the second term. More in this report by Namusokwe Wembia.
This is the first ever government infrastructure at Vondoka Primary School in Senga Hill District, which was opened in 1993 as a community school. The construction of this 1x3 classroom block at the cost of over 600,000 kwacha using the 2022 Constituent Development Fund has cheered teachers and the community.
It's going to improve the learning of our children at this school. Not only that, even as you can see, even the environment itself is also, it is going to add also a beauty on this place. We are really very thankful to our president.
Iya tuleteli chikulu chisuma sana mukwate mano akusundana inu muleke yasunga tusunge ningu chikulu achi ana yasambilile utu usile kuno mnitu utu wabulisha achino tukutaizia.
Senga Hill Member of Parliament Henry Sikazwe, who is also Muchinga Province Minister, is impressed with the workmanship.
In a short period of time, as UPN the government, we have managed to construct this school. And we are just emphasizing to our people to look after this infrastructure because this is ours. It is our policy as UPN the government to make sure that we empower our local contractors. Now, I'm urging them, to copy from this contractor who started on time and has completed on time.
And Senga Hill District Commissioner Justus Sikazwe and Director of Works Kachengwe Skasote also spoke.
As government, we have seen that with the constructions of schools, at least we are done. In most of the areas, we have constructed schools.
The scope of work includes substructure, superstructure, roofing, finishes, tubing, painting, and decorations. The total cost of this same project is 647,000 kwacha.
There is need for other local contractors to emulate this contractor by executing quality work within the stipulated time frame. Reporting for Zanis in Senga Hill, Namsokwe Wembia.
A team of Constituency Development Committee members in Luangwa District has inspected progress of Constituency Development Fund CDF projects in the area. Government is implementing 26 CDF projects in the area. More in this report.
Government is constructing classroom blocks, market shelter, and semi-detached teachers' houses and dormitories, among others, through the Constituency Development Fund in Luangwa District. Luangwa District Commissioner Luke Chikan was happy with the quality of works on some projects. However, the District Commissioner expressed disappointment at the semi-detached classroom block project at Kaunga B.
Very happy with the progress that has been made. And now we are at Mankokwe. You can see from this, the way the building is, it's a good quality standard. And this is a local contractor. We commend them for this. But I was very, very disappointed with the project that we found at Kaunga B. the substandard arrangement, I think I implore the engineers to be able to follow up and at every stage to be able to monitor, because the government is putting in a lot of money.
The area member of parliament, Emmanuel Tembo, council chairperson Lawrence Shaba, and CDF chairperson Derek Kashinamilunda also shared the assessments.
We started at a low pace, but it's very encouraging that the contractors, generally, they're doing well. There's one or two places where things are still low, but generally I think that we're within time, and most of them still have a bit of time. What is gratifying is the fact that I think the monitoring has been going on, and I think more monitoring is required.
Yeah, so far we've done, I think, 3/4 of the inspection of the projects. I think we must have remained with 2. All in all, I think 3/4 of the job is done. What is remaining is just a quarter.
Thank you so much. Looking at where we are now, I think there is steady progress that is being made. Considering the last time that we did some monitoring, I think most of the works were not where we found them today. Like, for example, just where we are here today, we can see that these have even roofed. They are now working on the inside, they are doing the tiles, and they have even started painting. So we can simply say that from the way things are moving, we are on target.
One of the contractors assured government that the projects are on course and will be completed in the near future. Liz Tandumba, Luangwa District.
We move to Northwestern Province, where Minister of Labour and Social Security, Brenda Tambatamba, says government recognizes the critical role that human capital plays in the country's economic transformation agenda. Ms. Tambatamba says this is why government will continue to dialogue with its social partners to maintain industrial harmony. The minister was speaking when she met management from FQM, Trident Limited, Kansanshi, and Barak Lumwana Mine. Details in this report.
As Zambia seeks to increase its annual copper production to 3 million tons in the next 10 years, human capital remains critical to achieving this aspiration. This is why the Ministry of Labour and Social Security has taken time to interact with mining firms in Solwezi and Kalumbila districts so as to ensure industrial harmony is maintained.
Activities that are commendable that are going on in this location through investment of your good selves, FQM group of companies, Barrick, and others that are coming by are so commendable that they have the eye of government, that we have to continuously wrap around these activities to ensure that we together as social partners.
Most of the subcontractors are not receptive to union activities. Now, there is also the issue of failure to comply with NAPSA contributions, workers' compensation, and NEMA. Before we crack the whip from headquarters, of which we can because the law empowers us to do so, we can simply invoke the provisions of the law. We are saying no. In the labor sector, we need to have social dialogue before you escalate matters.
The mining companies have pledged to work with the ministry in resolving the issues raised.
So all these issues are going to be looked at. We are not going to close our books and just continue our daily activities. We will look at it.
And through this process, we will continue following up in terms of the compliance.
Workers' representatives also want companies to abide by the law.
We would not want to see more casualization in the name of contracts.
Mwape Mwesa for Zanis in Northwestern Province.
Still in Northwestern Province, Solwezi District Farmers Association has held government for purchasing 18 motorbikes for agriculture extension services. Association chairperson Marian Kalala says agricultural extension officers will not have any excuse to give if they fail to reach out to farmers because government has equipped them with transport. Here is Chaiwu Nkoma with the details.
A functioning agricultural extension system ensures that farmers receive appropriate information on new methods of farming. Northwestern Province has received 18 motorbikes purchased by government to improve on transport situation for extension officers.
As farmers in the province, we are very grateful to the New Dawn government for making it a reality for our camp officers to start now visiting our farms. Yeah, the condition on the ground has been very, very difficult because the camp officers could not reach all the farmers. So now with the transport, I think there is no excuse, because it has always been the excuse. You have to look. Farmers have to look for transport to bring the camp officers to the farms. But now the government has made it very easy.
The provincial administration reaffirms government commitment to supporting the agricultural sector.
The agricultural extension system is a key component in building the capacity of our farmers through the provision of extension and advisory services. The purpose of these motorbikes demonstrates government commitment to supporting the agricultural sector so that it is able to adequately deliver its mandate.
It is hoped that with the support from government, extension officers will now be more mobile.
Currently we are having more like 27 camp officers and we have few motorbikes. So coming up of these motorbikes is actually going to help our district to deliver effectively in terms of extension services.
For Zanis News, I am Chebunkoma in Solwezi District, Northwestern Province.
We move to Eastern Province. The region has continued to record high production and productivity rates of major crops like maize, groundnuts, and soybeans compared to other regions, despite climate-induced challenges like dry spells, emergence of new crop pests, and late onset of rains. Provincial Minister Peter Piri is, however, hopeful that some of these challenges will be addressed by the continued development of new crop and technologies by the Zambia Agriculture Research Institute. Here's a report.
Inclusive economic transformation through increased agricultural productivity is the theme that brought together various partners at this year's Zambia Agriculture Research Institute Farmers Field Day in Eastern Province. Farmers were presented with an opportunity to learn of latest technologies and opportunities available for improving agricultural practices for increased productivity, an opportunity they are grateful for.
Zintu zisinto satiti kale mujamamena nalili makolo iyai. Kusinta kwa magodo ya mvula nazo byalo ofanika kutiti sinte. Mwaicho napunzirapo zambiri kuno kumsekera.
The field day was graced by Eastern Province Minister Peter Piri.
Eastern Province has consistently performed well across the country in terms of high production and productivity of major crops, including maize, groundnuts, and soybeans for more than 5 years. In the 2021-2022 farming season, for instance, according to the Crop Focus Survey, we produced more than 465,000 metric tons of maize. Even with this high performance, many challenges that constrain farmers' efforts to attain high levels of crop productivity are quite evident. Season after season, crop failures resulting from climate-induced challenges such as dry spells, late onset of rains, and the emergency of new crop pests continue to negative efforts by farmers to increase further production and productivity. The Msekera Research Station has generated, tested, and adapted crop and soil technologies in order to increase agricultural productivity and diversity production. I'm hopeful that these technologies can go a long way in mitigating some of the agricultural production constraints constantly faced by our farmers.
Preceding this event, Acting Provincial Permanent Secretary Beauty Piri emphasized on the need to add value to locally produced products.
As we talk to farmers, even as we talk to people that are buying, that are getting into CDF money and are forming cooperatives, that they should ensure that they get machinery. The machinery that will help us with the finished product. We're talking about the theme of economic transformation. We can only transform the economy of this country if we are manufacturing just here in Zambia. We are manufacturing here in Eastern Province.
Meanwhile, the organizers of this event are satisfied with the outcome. Abigail Kachweka, Zanis in Chipata.
Northern Province Permanent Secretary Bernard Mpundu has relaunched production units at schools. This is aimed at ensuring that schools become financially independent. More in this report.
Production units allow pupils to acquire life skills, which may help them earn a living in future. They also help schools to generate income, thereby mitigating the cost of educational provision as institutional income becomes readily available. Northern Province Permanent Secretary Bernard Mpundu has since officially relaunched production units for schools in Northern Province.
The idea of revamping production unit PU in education sector in Zambia comes in the wake of the need to equip our learners with skills for them to be productive. This country has to move forward, and one way is through the implementation of production unit at all levels of education delivery.
Mlambwa Nawa is Northern Province Education Officer.
We are saying this time we want to revamp production unit. Yes, it has been there, but we are doing it at a small scale. This time we want to go big. This is because we want sustainability in most of our institutions. Institutions must be able to support themselves, if possible, to stand on their own.
Kasama Girls Secondary School head teacher Michael Chinika highlights the benefits of the production unit at his school.
These cabbages are meant for feeding the children in school, thereby allowing the same money to revolve within the school. So when we sell to the boarding pays PU, and then the PU is able to sustain itself so that we don't have to get back to the school coffers, the money we're being given by government.
The relaunch of the strategic notes on implementation of production units was under the theme, revamping production units in the education sector, contributing towards and beyond a prosperous middle-income Zambia. Helen Bwalia for Zanis in Kasama, Northern Province.
Over 500 vulnerable youths in Lusaka Province who were awarded scholarships under the GRZ Community Scholarship Program are currently undertaking various courses at different colleges and universities. Here's a report.
These are among the over 5,000 youths that have been awarded scholarships under the International Coalition of Fellowships ICOF GRZ Community Scholarship Program from various districts in Lusaka Province. The program, which is targeting to empower viable but vulnerable youths with free tertiary education, is visibly supplementing government efforts to uplift the lives of young people across the country. Speaking during a closing ceremony of the first residential session of the program at Chongwe Secondary School, Chongwe District Commissioner Evans Lupia stated that the program will go a long way in contributing towards economic and national development.
Focus on what you want to achieve based on this free opportunity to be educated. Whatever government is doing to finance, to invest in you, is because they are also looking at the other aspect of your contribution to the economy of the country or to the nation. So we want 2-3 years from now you become an asset and not a liability. If you fail along the way, you will have wasted government assets. In fact, you will have wasted an opportunity which another person was dying to get.
And ICOF Vice Chancellor Professor Charles Mwape encouraged the youths to utilize the scholarships to better their lives.
Out of the all numbers of students that responded to us, we had to restrict ourselves to the number because we are getting 500 per province. And we had to pick on you, and picking on you, giving you an opportunity. Use this opportunity to advance your career. Use the opportunity to change the lifestyle or the space in your families. This investment, we want a return. We want you to study. We want you to be serious with your education.
Meanwhile, beneficiaries of the program thanked government and ICOF for according them an opportunity to access free tertiary education.
I want to thank the government and the ICOF University for giving me this opportunity to go to university. For most of us are vulnerable. I had no hope of going to school because I had no friends, but they came in and gave me hope. I'm now pursuing my dream course. I'll be able to change my family because I'll be educated, get a good job, and be able to support my family.
Sheila Makosa, reporting for Zanis in Chongwe District.
Copperbelt Province Permanent Secretary Augustine Kasongo has directed all provincial departments to actualize government policies and laws on disability that include rights for persons with disability. Mr. Kasongo says government departments should ensure that they allocate at least 10% of their programs and resources to persons with disabilities, amongst other vulnerable and marginalized groups. Details in this report.
As government is implementing the 8th National Development Plan, which is anchored on an inclusive development approach, the Disability Rights Watch, a non-governmental organization, is committed to supporting the government's efforts by implementing the Disability Inclusion in Access to Justice in Zambia project, which will focus on mental disability in children and women.
And all justice players to ensure that mental disability, intellectual disability, the rights of children's disability, the rights of women's disabilities, and the rights of parents with disabilities are recognized and resolved through the paralegal system we have, through the police service, and when they come in contact with the judiciary and they end up contacting the correctional facilities. All these facilities should be accessible and friendly to persons with disabilities.
Disability Rights Watch Executive Director Wamundila Waliuya has appealed to the government to direct all empowerment funds in the province to ensure that 10% of the budget allocation goes towards persons living with disability.
Guest of honor, we are privileged to have you here, and we urge you to direct that all empowerment programs in the province should ensure that 10% of the funds goes towards persons with disabilities, and that this directive should be supported by a memorandum which should be issued to all heads of departments and all those who are heading these empowerment programs.
And Copperbelt Province Permanent Secretary Augustine Kasongo has retaliated with a positive response to the appeal.
I hereby direct all provincial departments of various government lines ministries to actualize government policies and laws on disability by ensuring that not less than 10% of program budgets, allocation of other resources targets persons with disability amongst other vulnerable and marginalized groups. This directive also goes to empowerment funds, such as for youths and women, that must have its deliberate allocation for youth and women with disabilities.
For Zanis News, Ndola.
Early in the news, as the country will be remembering the first late president, Kenneth Kaunda, on KK Day on 28th April, some of the memories have been created across the country, which include paintings and statues of him. One of them is the Kenneth Kaunda statue at Longeka's Mall in Lusaka, which has become a tourist attraction for people who visit the mall. Zanis staffer Lakson Makodza visited the mall and found people taking pictures, others having a glimpse of the statue.
The imposing immortalized bronze statue of Zambia's founding father, Kenneth Kaunda, standing at Longeka's Mall, is a center of attraction to members of the public who patronize the mall. Since its unveiling in 2022, the larger-than-life statue of Dr. Kaunda has been a tourist attraction, as a day hardly passes by without one finding people taking pictures besides the statue. However, one business entity at Longeka's Mall, Bojangos, has taken leverage of the populace found around the Kaunda statue by packaging it as part of the customer experience you get after visiting the establishment.
Very privileged to be linked to the KK statue, which represents our former father, Kenneth Kaunda, may he so rest in peace. So even as this is his month, as we're celebrating the KK Day, we want people to come, as they come to our establishments, we want to send them out there to go and see the statue be able to feel what he felt as our father. We want them to understand the history of Zambia. So of course, as Bojangles, we receive so many tourists. Some of them are foreigners and some are local. We always emphasize that every time they have their meal there, they go and stop over at the KK statue and enjoy the statue.
Tour operators have bought into the business concept of including the marketing and promoting of Dr. Kaunda's statue to both local and foreign tourists.
Here there's also our statue of our founding father, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, which is good as well. We can talk about the history of the country, we can do storytelling as tour operators, so they've made our work easier.
The conducive environment created by the government in the tourism sector has seen 240 job opportunities at Bojangles, mostly for the unskilled youths who are later trained by international hospitality experts.
How it's changing the Zambian hospitality is we've brought in the skills developers and the skills trainers to come and train them correctly, professionally, to turn this into an occupation.
As Zambia will be remembering Dr. Kaunda on KK Day on 20th April, his statue is also key in keeping memories fresh of the once great son of Africa who died on June 17th, 2021. For Zanis, I'm Lakson Makodza.
That item wraps up Zanis News, but before we go, we take another look at the stories that made headlines. Poaching, illegal mining in Eastern Province on the decline. 5 million kwacha spent on CDF projects in Lunte. 500 Lusaka youths benefit from government scholarship. Kenneth Kaunda statue now a tourist attraction. Thank you for being with us. On behalf of the production team, this has been Mwangalaka Pandola. Thank you for watching.